Geico presents sharing versus oversharing. Way early this morning, Brad Higdon shared a major spoiler alert from everyone's favorite hit show, sad emojis to express his feelings about the plot twist, and a playlist he made to drown out his sorrows? Dude, oversharing alert. Brad, Geico has something worth sharing with those who haven't befriended you. Like how you could save hundreds on your car insurance at geico.com. So stop moping about the post-apocalyptic world and start saving in the real world. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Fort Bragg's backyard, this is the show that put the 110 Nation on the map. There is only one nation, the 110 Nation, and you're listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show, covering each and every sport across the board. There is no sport too large or too little. It's time to talk the talk. Here we go. Here's the man, the founder, and your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. I'm hoping we got all of this right. Glad to be here on this. Monday night. We're on Tuesday night. God, I'm losing track of the nights. But glad to be here on this Tuesday night. Glad to have the opportunity to be sitting here with you guys, as it's been a long time. It really has been, and it's been rather depressing how long it has actually been. As if it ain't been one complication, it has been another. So. I don't want to miss too much. You guys have to bear with me here. We're trying to get things accomplished here, as I thought I had this figured out, and once upon a time it was figured out. So hopefully we get this figured out, and we get this situated here in the studio, as I'm trying to connect both these shows is what the goal is here. And so bear with me one second. But let's run through everything as I'm trying to get this worked out here. Don't forget, you guys to check us out on Facebook. You can check my fan page out. There you go. Mr. CJ Sports. You can check out the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, you can check out the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, at DJ Sports 1. You can check out mine, or the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Sorry, I'm just getting all the story. Check out the website, www.the110nation.com. Check out the blog site, www.the110nation.com. For 110nationsports.com for all the latest going on over there. This is not working how I wanted it to work by any stretch of the imagination. So we might just have to go back to the old school way. I was hoping to do both shows at the same time, and it doesn't seem that it's working out in my favor, as it looks like it's got a bad echo. That doesn't work that way. Maybe that sounds better. I don't know. being entertained with the noise that being entertained by the noise that we are hearing. We're just going to have to do this live like we used. We got to go old school with it, and then that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to go old school with it and do it the old way, which just complicates things. That's not how this was supposed to work tonight, especially after being off for a week and not having a show. Thanks to it taking 3 technicians and a supervisor to figure out why we were not having internet and why we were having issues. But I tell you what, I'm definitely glad to be back, and definitely looking forward to having a great show tonight. So make sure you guys continue to hang out. We were supposed to have Izzo join us tonight. Normally he joins us on Tuesday nights to do NHL. Unfortunately, Izzo is sick. He's got the case of food poisoning. So what we're going to do is we have Damion from the Midwest Horsepower Hour joining us tonight at 10:30 to talk NHL. Seems that he is about on the same skill level. As a matter of fact, we might end up getting both of them on the show one of these days and to hang out and talk NHL. So, one, give me a break, but two, get you 2 experts on here at the same time versus an expert than me. So we got Damion Bean joining us at 10:30, so looking forward to talking to him, having him on the show, and have an opportunity to get to know what he knows when it comes to NHL. We all know that he knows a lot about racing, and he knows a lot about the about dirt racing and the local scene. So now we get an opportunity to get to know what he knows when it comes to the NHL. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to having him on the show. Tell you what, I don't know. It's like I'm all kinds of out of sync right now. It is crazy. It's been too long. You guys have no clue how aggravating it has been to not have a show and not have an opportunity to do a show. For those that are out of the loop, we moved locations. We moved last Monday, as a matter of fact, and things weren't set up the way that we had planned to have things set up when it comes to this move. And so it wasn't to the latter part of the week that we could actually get somebody out. When we finally got running around and making phone calls. I mean, we made phone calls before we even moved, but it was too late in the move. My ex, she moved about 3 or 4 days or even maybe a week before us. And she actually didn't have any kind of service until the day. So we're fortunate enough that, we for the most part had everything taken care of, just had some issues with the internet, which was crazy because there was already service out here. All they had to do was reconnect, but I guess there was some deeper lining issues that caused them to just really have some complications. And as a matter of fact, when they came out the first day, they were supposed to be here. They were supposed to be here mad early, and they didn't get here. They didn't leave my house until about 11 o'clock at night. They were running late. As a matter of fact, another technician had to take over the job because the guy that actually was assigned the job was not making it out here. So unfortunately, the first night was already a late night, and then it ended up being the weekend. So then, of course, we have to wait until Monday to get the next set of people out here. Then Tuesday, and then blah, 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 and here we are. So crazy. And like I said, it's funny because the ex, they've been waiting even longer than us to get stuff situated and things done. And, I talked to her earlier today, and they're just now getting some kind of service. I guess it's one of the perks of, I wouldn't say we're out in the middle of nowhere, but we're not necessarily in a city. And as a matter of fact, where I live right out. Oh, snap, it's at 90 seconds. I did not. Look at me. That tells you how much out of sync I am with everything. I only scheduled a 15-minute show instead of the 2-hour show that we're supposed to be having. There we go. Got to fix it real quick. But, wow, out of wink. I was thinking, but the closest town that I live in, and it's really, I think it's called a town, it is right up we live right outside, the city limits, and I mean, hell, even the town I work in is a small town. It's not really, like I said, it's even considered just a town. So I guess it's one of those things that we don't. We live close to or too far out to make it where things take forever. And, of course, any kind of screw-ups, then it takes them forever to get somebody back out here. And so just glad that we're up and about, and we got service, and we're able to do a show, and we're able to be able to sit here and talk to you guys. And looking forward to being back on the I-95 Sports Network. Make sure you guys check them out. We got some big news coming out this week as well, as we are syndicating a race show. They broadcast live on Sunday, so I think that we're going to try our darndest to get the show syndicated or rebroadcast that morning. The only complication is I open on Sundays at my job, and so I got to see what I can do by phone, and hopefully we'll be able to get it on the network. Cause I think they do before the races on Sunday, and so I want to make sure that if that's the case, that we rebroadcast their show before the race. That way it's all current and relevant at the time. So looking forward to that. I think it's Happy Hour Garage. I want to say that is the name of the show. So excited about that. Looking forward to other great changes and great additions here in 2016, and that is one of our big goals for 2016. So very excited about that. Talking about changes in 2016, NASCAR once again changing things up. 2016, they go and see. Once again, NASCAR is embracing for big changes for 2016. Tuesday morning, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, Brian France, the sanctioning body chairman and CEO, addressed some of the new ideas and procedures coming to the sport this year. Here are 7 major changes that are going to take place in 2016. Chase format. The Xfinity Series and Camping World Truck Series will each adopt a chase playoff format this year. Xfinity Chase will feature 12 drivers and 7 races, while the Truck Series Chase will be 8 drivers and 7 races. All 3 series will have a winner-take-all final race at Homestead Miami Speedway, with 4 drivers in each series contesting their respective championships. No driver running in the Sprint Cup points will be allowed to race in the Xfinity and truck events at Homestead. It'll make them better prepared to handle the next level. France said of the Xfinity and Truck Series drivers having to race in the Chase. Charter system. France said he was very optimistic that NASCAR and the Sprint Cup team owners would complete talks to institute a charter system that would give team owners more economic security. Details would be revealed soon, France said, but not today. There has been a lot of talk about the new charter system for team owners and how that can work to make the team ownership model better. France said, we wouldn't do anything that we didn't think in the long run would make racing better, would field more opportunities, create an environment for more owners, more capital in a very expensive sport to have a better experience in fielding the race, teams week in and week out. Third change. New title sponsor, Sprint's sponsorship of NASCAR's Premier Series ends this year. France said he is confident that the replacement for 2017 and beyond will be introduced. We are in a good spot, he said. We have a lot of interest. We got our TV deal set for the next decade or so, and I suspect my sense is that we'll get something done here. We'll see, but it's good. We're in a good place. Fourth change, digital dashes. All Cup teams were required to run NASCAR's new digital dash in 2016. Among the information available to drivers are their lap times, which will be a huge change. France said more innovations will follow, but at a measured pace. We're going to embrace technology and innovation, said France. We don't want to break the bank for the track operators, the team owners, or other stakeholders, but we're going to need to figure out as we go along. Fifth change, low downforce package. The rules remain unchanged at Daytona and Talladega, but for all the other NASCAR Sprint Cup tracks, the series will run a new low downforce package that should improve passing, especially at the front of the field. NASCAR Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer Steve O'Donnell said further tweaks could be forthcoming. This is what we're going to put in place for the year and see how it goes, and then know that we've got some great formats to look forward to as we head into the chase and drivers going after wins, he said. Phoenix, Richmond next, with the Daytona Rising project nearly complete. International Speedway Corp. CEO Lisa France Kennedy said Phoenix International Raceway and Richmond International Raceway were the two tracks next for the list of significant upgrades. It is so important to continue to modernize these tracks and to be able to bring the modern day amenities and comforts into these tracks, said France Kennedy. And I can tell you that we're taking a look at Richmond and also in Phoenix. Those will probably be some of the next tracks that we'll look at. And then the big one, the seventh and final change for 2016. 20-minute breaks. If a NASCAR camping truck World Truck Series race goes 20 consecutive minutes under green, NASCAR will throw a competition caution, using something they called a caution clock. Here's how that's going to work, said NASCAR's O'Donnell. Green flag comes out, starts the race. If after 20 minutes a caution has not come out, we'll display a competition yellow. We'll run through the caution laps. We'll go back to green. Caution clock will reset. We'll do that throughout the race until the end. When we get within a window, obviously if there's less than 20 minutes, we'll turn off the clock. And I think some other details. I think the last 20 laps or last 10 laps or something, that won't apply as well. So I'm trying to pull this up. This other one gave a little bit more details, especially when it comes to when it comes to this whole when it comes to this caution clock. I can tell you right now there's not a lot of fans and I'm reading NASCAR. This is just coming out of someone's Facebook page. NASCAR now has a caution clock, so every 20 minutes of green flag racing will result in a caution. It sounds like a 5-year-old Hot Wheel race. What a joke. Come out and support your local dirt track. We only have a caution when needed. There's not a lot of people that are excited or happy about this change here. A lot of politics in this, and and it's not, like I said, it's not sitting well with a lot of people. And now you're guaranteeing commercial breaks. I mean, and that's kind of what it boils down to. You're basically making 20-minute heats. And that's it. Now, if you had like 20 lap heats, and you had, I don't know, maybe half the race that had 20 lap heats, then you set the other second half of the race as the main event, and basically you run the second half of the race. Yeah, maybe. But nobody wants to see their driver build themselves a nice little lead, and then a caution comes out because they've been under green flag for 20 minutes. I'm sorry, but nobody wants to see that. I mean, there would be nothing worse than sitting down and watching a race, and you have someone like Jeb Burton out there leading the race, or have someone, Nemechek's kid, out there leading the race, finally getting that opportunity to get a win underneath their belt, be out front, get that recognition, and then, hold on, 20 minutes or up, let's throw a caution. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to know. There's already enough conspiracy theories and enough people out there that believe that NASCAR is dictating winners of the race as it is. So why in NASCAR's mind here do they think that this would be a good idea? To add more cars? Does NASCAR not read social media? Do you see? They not see how many people get pissed off on a weekly basis when there's simply a debris caution, especially when they do not see the debris, or when you have one driver that wrecks and they take them forever to put out a caution, but then you have the next driver who just spins out and drives off, and yet there's a caution for no reason. I'm sorry, but as long as there's no debris on the track and there's been no contact to another car, there should not be a caution. And it amazes me how many times conveniently, depending on which driver spins out or what's going on in the race, there's a caution thrown. Even though there's no debris and no contact nowhere. I've yet to understand that part of it. But with that being said, why would NASCAR put themselves in a predicament here? To say, you know what, for 20 minutes we're going to have a caution. We are going to stop this race no matter how interesting it is. I mean, it could be simply someone out front, a dark horse, a Cinderella story, or just the usual Kyle Busch out front. Or it could be door-banging action on the edge of our seats, kind of racing. And then a caution comes out. And then now that also is going to dictate a lot of different things. Let me prime example. Every time it's 20-minute caution, does that mean someone gets unlapped and they get the lucky dog for it? Someone has a good day, all of a sudden, because now they got to take unnecessary pit stops. Pit crew screws up, and now that, being up front at one point in time, and I know it's part of the sport, but now you're throwing in these audibles. And And I've seen a driver on Facebook post that they're optimistic about the change, and I fully agree that when it comes to changes, everybody complains about they don't like how things are done. Chase is a prime example. Everybody got tired of the way the championship was decided back in the day. Hell, we could be 2 or 3 races away from the end of the season, and a championship be dictated. I can remember going to Atlanta in 96, and the last race of the season, so it might have been 95, when Jeff Warren won his first championship. All he had to do was finish like 35th or better. I mean, big freaking whoop-de-doo. I mean, you know how uninteresting that race was to go. My first race, I get to go to Atlanta, and the championship's already pretty much decided by the time they turn the cars on. But yes, there was a lot of people complaining because of the new chase format, even though people weren't happy with the old championship format. And people still complain about, I wish we'd go back to the old format. No, you really sit there and think about it. Nobody honestly wants to go back to the old format, because at least now we have at least 4 drivers competing for a championship, or we have 4 drivers competing for a championship in the last race guaranteed. Back in the day, there was no guarantee that you even had 2 cars competing for a championship. There was times that championships were already locked up before the last race of the season, or it took very minimum effort by a second car, or for the points leader to eliminate the second place car. So for all those idiots out there that, I wish we would go back to the old format, you guys can just go ahead and zip it, because nobody wants to go back to the old format. Then we get used to the format, and then NASCAR changes up the format. So, of course, people complain about that. They didn't like the format at the time, the new chase format. But then they're unsatisfied with the change. Complained about the old one, complaining about the new one. And then, of course, there was like one more modification to the chase. And yet, the contender rounds and all that. Everybody wanted to complain about the current chase format, the 10-race dash and everything. We change it up and make it even more competitive for the last 10 races. And then people complain about that. So here we are, prime example, and I'm talking about this. But I'm looking at it more, and I'm going to give it an opportunity. And usually I'm one to keep quiet until I get to see it. I just see that there's a lot of potential frustration, conspiracy theory, a lot of different things that I don't think NASCAR really wants to have, and it is asking for to happen because they're doing it this way. I just, we're going to see. Obviously, we're what, a month away at this point from the Daytona 500 in Daytona weekend. So obviously we're right around the corner for the season. At this point, NASCAR is constantly making changes versus giving an opportunity for things to kind of have an opportunity to see if they work or not. We're constantly modifying things that, and then also on top of that, they eliminated a lot of things in the truck series. So it would cut down costs. And here we are. Now we're going to require them to take a pit stop every 20 minutes or throw a caution. And I'm assuming that a competition yellow means you got to pit. I mean, I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'd like to know if they got to pit. I'm assuming. Then what's the point of pitting if you're not going to change stuff? So therefore, now the cost of everything is going to go up for these teams, because now you're making 4 pit stops. Therefore, you need more tires, you need more gas. I just don't get some of these changes. Like I said, I'm usually pretty optimistic about it. I usually stay pretty reserved about it. Usually, a lot of people jump the gun. So obviously I'm going to try to be somewhat reserved about this and check this out. But I don't know. Change is always good to me when it comes to NASCAR. And usually I'm ahead of the curve versus the traditional NASCAR fans. They just don't like change. I don't get it why they're so anti-change. And like I said, it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to have fun trying to see about this. But at the same time, there's a lot of what ifs that I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just hey, boo-boo. Yeah, I know. I've been gone for a week, and now I'm doing Yogi Bear. Playoffs. Not too bad. 6-2 so far this season in the playoffs. Kind of disappointed in Seattle. Could have won a game. Should have won that game. Or they should have won that game. But went for it instead of kicking a field goal in the first half and then missed that 55. That one would be chalked up. I don't even care about that. Just think how much different that game would have been if they would have scored that field goal in the first half, went into the half only down 31-3. So that when they kicked that they wanted to kick that field goal later on in the game to put them down by a touchdown. They had only been down by 4 points, and they would have went ahead and went for that touchdown. Game could have been totally different if Steve Carroll would have not decided to go for a field goal, or if he would have decided to go for the field goal and not go for it early in the game in the first half. Kind of screwed my perfect season. I was 6-0 up to that point, and then of course Denver and Pittsburgh. I'm not going to say I was surprised because there was injuries that started piling up for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not trying to make excuses, but the things just piled up, and I guess not really a surprise for me. As even though I picked the Steelers to win the game, you can only do so much. You can only expect so much out of your squad there, and honestly, I think that the Steelers, gave everything that they could possibly give. The injuries piling up, coming off that game, that ferocious game against the Bengals, just a lot of things that tallied up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'm not going to complain. 6-2. I still have my preseason predictions intact. Yes, going into the season, way long ago. We're talking at least at this point with 19, 20. So we're looking at least 20 to 22 weeks ago. I predicted that we would have an Arizona Cardinal and a New England Patriots Super Bowl. And with that being said, I said that the Arizona Cardinals would be our Super Bowl champion. Here we are, championship weekend. We got the Carolina Panthers, who, congratulations, I will admit, you beat 2 teams above 500 all season long. So in 17 games, you managed to beat 2 teams above 500. I applaud you. You still ain't earned my respect, and you about choked. But I will give it to you. You've managed to beat 2, not 1, but 2 all season long. But you got the Carolina Panthers, Arizona Cardinals, and obviously we know that I am big in the Arizona Cardinals. And we have the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. Of course, I cannot against Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I just can't. It is not in my blood to bet against those two guys. I'm sorry, but no matter how much you want to hate them, you can't bet against them. They are amongst the best of the best in their respectful position. If it be in
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen.
You'll be able to listen. But I know the speakers are on me. What is this system talking about here? As I'm trying to. Why is it got echo? I'm trying to fix this. There we go. Trying to get this still to work. I messed with it a little bit, but I'm sorry, but I can't. There's no part of me that says I could bet against Bill Belichick or the maybe that'll work. Maybe that is what I was supposed to do. I might have just figured it out. No, kill that. I don't know. But I got to admit though, it has been very entertaining to see some of the stuff that I have seen on Facebook. I tell you what, the haters definitely are hating right now on Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And no matter how many times you throw out there that you feel that the New England Patriots cheated, first of all, you have no proof that the New England Patriots cheated. First of all, first and foremost, you don't have any proof. But even more so, you can't keep using that as the reason that you are so anti this team, because at some point you got to respect the talent. I'm sorry, you can't continue to say, well, the only reason they win championships is they cheat. Because first of all, every team cheats. I mean, you had the Saints get investigated for them planting bugs. You got Atlanta Falcons who caught fines for making false crowd noise by running it through their speaker system. Every team cheats. There is not a single organization out there that does not cheat. I'm sorry. You can be butthurt all you want about it. There's not an organization out there that does not cheat. It is quite simple. So, all those people out there that constantly for all those that are constantly out there, and that is your logic, get over it. Because there's not there's not like I said, there's not a single team out there that is not doing this. Regardless of what you think, there's not a single team out there that is not trying to cheat the system somehow to win a championship. And I'm not saying that I feel the New England Patriots did. I'm still on this whole thing that you had pretty much two teams that were butthurt because they were not good enough to beat the New England Patriots, and they sucked. And because of that, they wanted to find a way they had no proof, no evidence, speculation. We think the balls were underinflated. No, your team just sucked. That's all it was. Your team found a way. You had an easy enough schedule, get in the playoffs. When you played the New England Patriots, who had been very good since, the fourth week, you got your butt handed to you. Why is it so hard for you to man up? I don't get it. Now, so, of course, as we follow the New England Patriots into the AFC Championship and then into the Super Bowl, we're having the same discussions that we had last year, other than they're not being accused of it this year. People are just not letting it go and saying that, you know what, they cheat. Get over it, people. It is beyond old, beyond the nonsense, and quite frankly, at this point, I don't think anybody really cares. You're throwing up past stuff that's really irrelevant. It's already been dropped. It's already been excused out of the court system. How about this, Baltimore, Indianapolis? Why don't y'all learn how to put a team on the field that's good enough to beat the New England Patriots? Instead of complaining all the time. I mean, that to me would make more sense. To not complain, but put a team on the field that can compete, that can beat the New England Patriots. I mean, to me, that's the best logic. I mean, but that's not. That's obviously too easy and makes too much. I guess that makes too much sense. I mean, that's to me, I guess it makes too much sense. Here we are, championship weekend. I'm hoping that my preseason predictions come true. It would please me more than anything to be right, but it would please me even more to be able to hear the Carolina Panther fans shut the damn mouths. I'm sorry, but beating two teams all season long above 500 does not impress me none. To watch a 31-0 point lead and dwindle down to you about lost doesn't impress me none. I'm sorry. I'll congratulate you for actually beating your second team that actually was relevant all season long. I'm not jumping on this Carolina going to the Super Bowl train, nor will you ever see me hashtag, probably the stupidest hashtag, keep pounding, whatever. First of all, a Panther pounces. I don't think they count, but I can't deal. I can't deal with ignorant people, and that's a lot of the conversations we're having. because of the fact that Carolina only lost one game, because of the fact that Carolina actually won their second game above 500, because of the fact that they're in the NFC Championship game, that there's a lot of nonsense, ignorant stuff being talked, and I'm glad that here we are amongst our weekend coming up. I am going to finally be able to hear all the Carolina Panther fans shut up. The other side, as much as I would like to be right, I don't think that my feelings would necessarily be that hurt if Denver makes it, but I think it would be a better matchup regardless who it is if it ends up being against New England versus Denver. I don't have enough confidence in this Denver Broncos team. And so I have more confidence that the New England Patriots will either be able to be victorious or at least put a competitive game on. I honestly could see Arizona beating the holy crap out of Denver. If Carolina miraculously was able to get in, which I'm not counting on, I think the game would be a little bit closer than if it was, say, New England and Carolina or Arizona and Denver. But I don't think it would be that entertaining of a game. I think Denver would be able to handle the Carolina Panthers pretty easily. But obviously, as we build up for championship weekend, I thought it would be a fun week. I know the Denver Broncos have already throwing out the first blows, calling Tom Brady a crybaby. It's always entertaining to hear athletes talk out their butt. Like I say, you can say you can say what you want to say about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but I mean, really, honestly, when you say stuff like that, it just oh goodness. Oh, non-sports related. Everybody knows that Walmart is closing 269 stores in Walmart, which is crazy to me because they're building like the biggest one in either North Carolina or at least in this area of North Carolina, not even 10 minutes up the road. I have one that is probably 3 minutes up the road one way, and then I could drive here soon 5 minutes up the road the other direction and go to the biggest one. And then I could drive another 10 minutes past, not even 10 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes past that one and go to like the second largest one in this area. I mean, that's how close they are stacked on top of each other. But yes, they're closing 269 Walmarts in 2016. But, you know, that only puts 14 cashiers out of work. I love that. There's nothing like going to Walmart and there being no lines open, or maybe one if you're lucky, maybe a self-checkout. The new location here with the 110 Nation Studios at, we're like driving distance, maybe 45 to 60 seconds from a Dollar General. Walking distance, I could probably make it there in less than 5 minutes. Like, it is right there. I love it. I hate Walmart with a passion. I love having the opportunity, and as we were both coming from work, because we got up at 8 o'clock tonight, so we had to rush home for everything, we had this discussion. We got time to stop at the Dollar General. We got the dog who is spoiled, she spoiled the dog, and so he doesn't like to eat dry dog food by itself, so we have to mix in a half a can of wet dog food. And he's still a puppy, so I kind of overlook it. And, you know, I try to take care of the baby. And I also need a shampoo. And she's like, I'll just get it from Walmart. And I'm like, why go 3 minutes up the road and possibly save nothing, because the wet food is only $2 for $50 a can. And the shampoo I got is Suave, so it's one of the cheaper brands, but I hardly have any hair, so I really don't care. I need something to wash my hair. It doesn't have to be an expensive brand. I keep my hair very, very short. When I cut it, you can hardly see any hair at all. Then it gets maybe a quarter of an inch, and I cut it. So I don't really need, you know, that fancy of shampoo. Why are we going to go 3 minutes up the road one direction to get something that we can get right here in front, and I don't have to deal with it. You don't have to deal with the idiots at Walmart, nor the flying in the line. We have just as many lines open in the Dollar General, one line, as you will have at Walmart, one line, but you have a lot less people. You might have 5 or 10 people in the whole Dollar General. Who knows how many people are going to be in the Walmart? So I'd love, especially with us having a car broke down right now. I got messages coming through, but I would much rather just I would just rather be able to, especially with there only being one car, I get the opportunity that I can walk, and even walk the kids. It's like on the side road, and then when it gets to the main road, the Dollar General is actually on the main road. But we're off a side road, so you don't actually got to hit the main road, because you can cut across the grass and get to the Dollar General. So it is really convenient. The people at the Dollar General are going to get to know me on a first name basis. And like I told somebody earlier today, there's hardly anything that I would have to go to Walmart for versus just getting Dollar General. I'm a very simple guy. They have enough food items there that I could eat out of, and I don't know if this one actually has meat in it. I know there were some of them do. And that might be the only thing we have to go to Walmart for or a grocery store for is to get the meat. But there's enough stuff that I and 2 kids, because Shorty's usually gone 5 nights out of the week work, that we could survive off of. And as a matter of fact, if I lived by myself, I wouldn't even have to go to Walmart. There's enough stuff there that I could live off the Dollar General for weeks at a time. Yeah, I'll eventually have to go there and get some meat and some steak and, you know, beef and chicken. But, you know, I could go for a long period of time just eating out of what the Dollar General actually serves or sells. So, back to the point of the story, though, I just thought it was funny that 269 stores in 2016 are going to close and only putting 14 cashiers out of work. I thought that was a very entertaining post on Facebook. But anyway, championship weekend, looking forward to it. Looking forward to the opportunity. I hope my schedule is very complimentary, especially since I learned something this week. I finally figured out, after many, many attempts and many years of having cable and satellite and whatnot and surround sound, I could never figure out how to get my surround sound hooked up, one, to the TV or cable, but at the same time have it hooked up where I could play movies on the surround sound and have cable on the surround sound. Mr. CJ Sports learned something. He figured it out this week. So I am hoping, more than anything, that my schedule is complementary to the NFL schedule this weekend, because I would love to sit here on my, 46-inch TV. I think it's 46, not that big of a TV. But I would love to sit here in the privacy of my home, have me a couple cold ones, and be able to watch the football games uninterrupted on some surround sound. I can't beat that. Yes, I might have some kids. Sure, the kids might be here, being paid, but they'll be in a room. They'll entertain themselves. Each got a room full of whatever and TV. Well, probably won't be letting them watch TV while the game's on because it's going to be pointless because I'm going to have the surround sound up. I am going to be drunk, and I tell you what, now that makes the Daytona 500 even more interesting for me. And we finally got DVR this time. So I know that I'll be working on Sunday. I know I'll be working the Daytona 500. But I also know that I'll be DVRing it. And when they tell me to crank it up, I would like to say I would crank it up, but it is always going to. It is already going to be cranked up. I will be sit there front row center. Probably request to get off earlier on that Sunday. Normally I work till I think this last Sunday I worked 5 to 5, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'll probably work my schedule so I can get off early on Sunday so I'm not missing a lot. So I can skip a few rounds of commercials and actually get to be live and get caught up. But good God Almighty, I don't know which one I'm more excited about. Watching the football this weekend, or if you've not had the opportunity. I've had the opportunity. If you don't have the opportunity to have your surround sound hooked up and listen to a race, especially when they tell you to crank it up and they don't talk and they kind of amplify the sounds of what it's like being on the track. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. And then we got March Madness coming up, too. Oh, good God. And the neighborhood's going to think that we built a stadium down here or a racetrack, the kind of noise that's going to be coming out of this place here. Yes. Very, very excited about it. But got that this weekend. Got a lot of things coming out of the NASCAR world. So definitely keeping our eyes on that. LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers, didn't really impress me this week. They got manhandled by the Golden State Warriors. At one point, the Golden State was up by 43 points. Like they Golden State manhandled by Cleveland Cavaliers. I was kind of upset. This is. Yeah, we're supposed to be putting ourselves in a position to win a redemption, and that's nowhere close to what happened. and then of course the rumors are flying because of the comment that Kevin Love is throwing out there. And, of course, it's got the buzz of everybody talking once again. And obviously, it's going to, I don't know, make things interesting out there. Kevin Love made an oddly worded statement about LeBron James, and things seem to be getting awkward again. There's no doubt that LeBron James and Kevin Love haven't had the most harmonious relationship since becoming teammates last summer. They had an awkward first year in Cleveland last season, with LeBron calling out Love on Twitter and later leaving him out of the team photos. They had a poolside free agency meeting to talk things out before Love re-signed, and LeBron went out of his way in preseason to say that Love will have a bigger role on the team this year. Love has mostly played better, and the Cavs are the undisputed king to the Eastern Conference, but a rough patch at seemingly getting things after the Cavs were demolished by the Golden State Warriors Monday night, the Cavs locker room didn't seem like a particularly joyous place. LeBron James said it showed how far the team is from championship contention. David Blatt said the team was poorly prepared. Kevin Love made a cliche about reflecting on the loss, but it had a strange inclusion of LeBron. We have a lot of things to get better at, Love said. The things that that's going to take a lot of guys looking themselves in the mirror, and it all starts with our leader over there and dwindles on down. In all likelihood, this was probably just poorly worded. Love called LeBron the team's leader, and he likely means that the team can follow LeBron's example of looking in the mirror. Yet, given the two players' history, it's also hard not to read that statement and think it sounds something more. As excited as I was when we had the addition of Kevin Love, and don't get me wrong, I don't regret the fact that we traded off Andrew Wiggins and got a veteran player and a player that has proven itself and a player that we can count on. I'm sorry, but Andrew Wiggins to this point still not showed me anything. He's had like 2 good games and just happened to both be against Cleveland Cavaliers. I was very excited about the addition of Kevin Love. But not every piece is a good fit in every system. And honestly, I don't think at this point we've seen Kevin Love be a piece that is a good fit. I like the Kyrie Irving. I like the LeBron James. I think that Cleveland really needed their third to be more of a needed their third to be more of a role player, like Chris Bosh was. You had LeBron James, you had Dwayne Wade. Their third big guy, their third part of the big three was a Chris Bosh, who accepted the role because he really wasn't that great as a role player, and it worked. And I don't think Kevin Love is a role player. One, I think, first of all, he's too good of a player to be a role player. But second of all, I don't think he is able to take on that role or is willing to take on that role because he knows his skill set is too good to just be a role player. I mean, this Cleveland Cavaliers team is deep. Even with talks of possibly trading Timothy Mozgov, which I think would be a big mistake. I mean, you got Shumpert, you got Smith, you got Dylan Dover, you got Kyrie Irving, you got Kevin Love, you got LeBron James, you got James Jones, you got Jefferson, you got Cunningham, you got a very, and that's not to mention the other players that have not, the Anderson Baraja. You have a really good team and a really deep team. I just don't think that every piece in that system is a good fit. And I think that's where we're seeing this because we're not getting the maximum. I mean, prime example. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. They don't have a big three. They really don't have that great of a roster. What they have is perfect pieces that fit that system perfectly. I mean, yeah, you got Steph Curry, all-star, one of the best point guards ever to be on the court. Okay, you can't say the same thing about his co-part. You can't. I mean, he is not best shooting guard ever. He is not that great of a player. All-star votes might get him into an all-star, but it's not his his performance on the court is not going to wow you to the point, Klay Thompson, that you're like, this is definitely a shooting guard. This is definitely one of the best. No, it's not even the case. And Klay Thompson is very streaky. Be hot 1 week or one game and not the same. Draymond Green, yes, he's had quite a few triple doubles. But Draymond Green in any other system is not going to stand out the way he does. He's not wowing anybody. He fits the system perfectly. Harrison Barnes. I guarantee any other team he would not have the contract he has. He probably wouldn't even start on most other teams. Andrew Bogut, same thing. Andre Iguodala. There's a reason why he's no longer with the teams that he was with before, the Denver Nuggets and so on. There's a reason why he comes off the bench. Barbosa, same way. They don't have an all-star roster. They don't have a big three. They don't overwow you with the skill set that they have. But where the Golden State differs from the Cleveland Cavaliers is Golden State pieces all fit. I think the only piece that really was not fitting or didn't fit that great was Lee, and they got rid of that piece. I know there was a lot of people questioning it, but they got rid of that piece. Sean Livingston is not going to wow anybody and probably wouldn't make anybody else's roster, but he works coming off the bench for them. Maurice Spates. We go on a list of players on this team. And like I said, the big difference between, I didn't even mention the fact that, I don't know how I even forgot about him, Tristan Thompson for the Cleveland Cavaliers, when I name all the how deep they are. The big difference is not every piece fits. Honestly, at this point, the way that the Cleveland Cavaliers are using Mozgov, and honestly, the way that the team is using Kevin Love, or how 3 points last night. Honestly, you could get rid of those two pieces, add a couple more role players. You got already two other centers. You got Anderson Varejao, who is not getting the play time that he once upon a time had when the roster wasn't so deep. You got Sasha Khan to back him up, so you got two centers. Say with your power forwards, you got Tristan Thompson. You've got James Jones who can play into that position. You've got pieces. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go trade Kevin Love. I like Kevin Love. What I'm saying, though, is not every piece fits. And if the pieces are not fitting, that's an indication that there needs to be a shift and something needs to be done. There's no reason that you went into Golden State and you lost by 6 points. You kept Golden State under 90 points on their court. Then at home, you get blown out by 34 points and was down by 43 at some point. LeBron James, 16 points. Kevin Love, 3 points. Timothy Mozgov, 6 points. Kyrie Irving, 8 points. When your second highest scorer, J.R. Smith, at 14 points. You got Shumpert, 10. Dellavedova, 11. He was 3 for 4 from downtown. Jefferson, only 6. Anderson Varejao, only 5. Tristan Thompson, only 2. With only 2 rebounds. That kind of sums everything up that you need to know about this Cleveland Cavaliers team. And obviously, Cleveland needs to figure this out. You're about halfway into the season at this point. You got 39 games in. you're just about pretty much at half point. You got to figure this out. If you are getting blown out by 34 points by the defending champ, this series is going to be done and over with if Cleveland returns a lot sooner and a lot quicker, and will X out all the conversations that we had. Well, what if Kyrie Irving did get hurt? What if Kevin Love didn't get hurt? Who would have won the championship? You can't even have that conversation no more. You get manhandled this time around. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Cleveland's 8-10, 8 of the last 10 games. I mean, they're doing good. They're still by far the best team in the East. They're 4 games up on the second best team. They're the third best record in the whole NBA. So don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing my team underneath the bus. But at the same time, there's things that got to be fixed. The pieces got to be perfect. The pieces got to coincide. If they don't, then this whole project's for nothing. And we've had this discussion numerous times. And I want to reiterate this discussion. Why is everybody letting the San Antonio Spurs fly underneath the radar? You got a 36-6 record. Really, you're just as much on pace as the Golden State Warriors, who are 38-4. Not too far behind. 24-0 at home. Better than Golden State. Point differential, 14.3. Better than Golden State. Only allowing 89.6 points per game, while Golden State's allowing 102.6. Defensively, San Antonio's better. At home, San Antonio's better. Beating their opponents, San Antonio is better. 11-game win streak right now. And yet, everybody's allowing the San Antonio Spurs to fly underneath the radar and are still focused primarily on the Golden State Warriors, and I'm not quite understanding why. Golden State does not scare me. Golden State lives and dies on that three-pointer. And granted, right now, they're still hitting it. But when it comes to the fundamentals of basketball, hands down, San Antonio is the best team in all of the NBA. And it's funny because you got players on the fourth on that team. We're pretty damn near close. And yet, fundamentally, they are, and coach-wise, they are the best team all around in the NBA. I put San Antonio 1, Golden State 2, Cleveland 3 was Oklahoma right there with 4. The difference is as the season goes, Oklahoma will start to fade. I'm sorry, but Westbrook and Durant only have so much go-go juice in them that eventually they're going to run out. They're eventually going to get tired, and there's nobody else on that team to help them. They are not a team that is stacked or built to be able to run the table or be able to be efficient and effective late into the season. They are a team that is built to be flashy, fun to watch most games. Sorry, but I just can't take Oklahoma City serious still. Not unless you make that team a little bit deeper. Norca and I take the Northwest Conference when your second place team is got a record of 18-23 and 11.5 games back. I don't know what's up with this West, but this West has just gotten horrible compared to the East. As the East, I mean, hell, the session with Cleveland, you only got one team below 500. The Atlantic, New York's almost got themselves out of 500, just one game under. And then we're not even going to mention the fact you got 3 teams out in the Southeast that are 500 and above, with Washington and Charlotte just hanging around right at 500. And then you look at the West, and you got the Northwest with Oklahoma City, the only team above 500, and by 5 games, Utah It's not even like they're hanging around 500. They're well under 500. You got the Pacific that only got 2 teams above 500, and Sacramento's nowhere close to being at 500. They're 6 games under. You got to go all the way down to the Southwest before you get 3 teams above 500. You don't even have but 6 teams in the West. This blows my mind because as many years we talk garbage about the East, and the fact that the East can only put up 6 teams with above 500 record many years, and here we are in the West, and you got 6 teams. That's it. And you got only one team that's even close. Your 7th place team, the Houston Rockets, the 22. Well, actually, okay, I say you got 7 teams. I don't know why I read that backwards. But you got 7 teams at 22, or 7 teams above 500, with Houston being 22 and 21. Your 8th place team is nowhere close. Nowhere close. Your 8th ranked team that would be in the playoffs right now is Utah at 18 and 23. 5 games below. This Western Conference has gotten real sloppy. I mean, I understand that Golden State and San Antonio, with only 10 losses combined in 80-something games, I know that plays a lot into it. But we're so used to seeing the Western Conference be so dominant. And there's just a lot of ugly, sloppy basketball coming out of the Western Conference. But still, yet again, people are allowing the San Antonio Spurs to fly underneath the radar. Which, honestly, at this point, if I had to say, do I think that there's a team, which I don't think is going to happen this year. I think we're getting ready to go on the halfway. We're right at halfway. You got a team with 4 losses. You got a team with 6 losses. I think injuries and the wear down will catch up with these teams. I don't think we'll have a 73-win team. I just don't think we will. But if I had to pick a team, it's not going to be Golden State. It's going to be San Antonio. If I feel that there's a team that, and the reason why I don't think it, one of the reasons I don't think it was going to happen, other than injuries and wear and tear, is Popovich is not going to push it. Popovich does not care enough to go 73-9 that he runs his team thin before the playoffs. If them reaching Golden State is out of reach, and they can't change their seeding, he's going to pull it. Or if they get ahead of Golden State so far that Golden State can't catch them, I mean, we would be down to the last 2 games of the season. Golden State could already be, let's say, 12 losses. San Antonio could have 9 losses and have games coming up that they could easily win. But if Golden State is 3 games behind them and there's 2 games left, Popovich is not going to push it. Simply just not. He is going to say, you know what, we're in, we can use the rest, we're old. 73-9 is not that important. So not only are you looking at injuries, potential injuries, and just fatigue, Popovich doesn't care enough to worry about that kind of stuff. When Popovich takes a $250,000 fine for not playing his starters, which I still to this day think that's bull crap, especially when you went into Miami. So it wasn't like the fans went to see Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Ginobili play. They went to see the Miami Heat play. But not only did they not come to see them, but when you have this team come down to the last, 30 seconds or whatever it was to decide the game, there was no reason to find this man. And obviously that is the trend, and obviously NBA got their heads out of their butt about it. But Popovich doesn't care about that record. That means a championship means so much more to the San Antonio Spurs team than any streak, whatever, or any record based off their record, whatever it means to them. Like I said, if there's room for them to move up and get a better seed and put themselves in an opportunity where they get home court advantage, yes, there's a possibility we'll see some kind of run happen. But if it doesn't dictate their seeding in the Western Conference or their seeding on whether or not who gets home court advantage in the NBA Finals, I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. And if any team is going to happen for, it's going to be San Antonio. Not only does San Antonio have the big three, actually about like the big five, when you talk about Parker and Ginobili and Duncan and Kawhi Leonard and Aldridge, but they have the pieces that fit together. They play really good together. And like I said, if there's a team that's going to do it, it's going to be San Antonio. I'm not understanding why everybody's so concerned. I understand they won a championship last year. I understand they come out and was undefeated for so long. But I've been talking about this for most of this season. Don't sleep on San Antonio. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that the Golden State Warriors are actually better than. I guarantee they play tonight, San Antonio's going to win. I don't care what court you play on. They meet in the playoffs. My money is on San Antonio. It blows my mind how quiet and how much everybody overlooks what San Antonio is accomplishing it out there, because everybody is focused on one of two things. The concern in watching the Golden State Warriors, and of course they're watching LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And not that San Antonio cares, because they're doing their thing, they're doing it underneath the radar, and they're doing it without there being a lot of focal point and a lot of pressure put on them. But people need to start paying attention. Fans need to start paying attention. San Antonio's got something for a lot of people out there. Like I said, if anybody's going to do that 73-9, it is going to be San Antonio. It's not going to be Golden State. We've already seen Steph Curry with his complications too much with his shin or ankle. You can't count on Klay Thompson being hot. The only person you can count on being an efficient three-point shooter every single night is Steph Curry. I'm sorry, but Golden State fans, it's not happening. It's not going to happen with the Golden State Warriors. Like I said, I don't think it's going to happen with either team. I think that 72-10 run of the Chicago Bulls is something that we'll probably never see be broke. And another reason is because the way Popovich rests his players and the way he plays his players, a lot more teams are doing it. I mean, we listened to them talk about LeBron James and his minutes and how they've decreased. A lot of teams are doing that. They want to get more shelf life out of their stars and out of their players. And so what we've seen Popovich and his system is becoming more of a common and used system. And that right there eliminates a lot of possibilities of teams going 73-9 or even better. It just does. We got Damion Bean joining us tonight. He's the host over at the Midwest Horsepower Hour. Izzo normally joins us at 10:30 on Tuesday night to talk NHL, but unfortunately for Izzo, he got food poisoning, so he is unable to keep himself focused enough to be able to do a show tonight. So Damion decided he would step in and take over the reins tonight, so looking forward to having him on the show. Don't forget, you can check us out on Twitter. You can check me out at CJ Sports 1. You can check out the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Also, check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation's fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check out our website, www.the110nation.com, or check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com, for all the latest that's going on here at the 110 Nation. But without any further delay, let's get Damion on here and let's come in NHL tonight. Damion, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing just well, sir. How are you?
I can't complain. After a little bit over a week of not having internet, cable, or nothing, we finally got everything situated. Glad to be back on the air. It was really driving me nuts that we weren't able to have shows for about a week and a half, but glad we were able to do this, and I'm glad that you're able to join us tonight so we can give the fans our traditional Tuesday night dose of Puckhead talk. So looking forward to jumping into this.
Yeah, I hear what you mean. I know you and I both had new studios put in, and my show is also taking a couple weeks hiatus and getting a new studio in and streamlining the format, and we're going to bring in Chris Creighton as a co-host, and we're going to be talking all things dirt on Sunday nights on the Midwest Horsepower Hour. So, yeah, I feel your pain. It's been a hectic week trying to get things in line and get things ready to roll, but man, I'm going to be awfully glad to be back this week. Racing's right around the corner, and it should be a good season.
Most definitely. And before we jump into talking NHL, I got to get your opinion on it. And NASCAR's got a bunch of new rule changes for 2016. I
thought about calling in.
The one that caught more attention was the 20-minute competition caution flag. What is your thoughts on that?
Well, the only thing I could think of for the series to implement a competition yellow at 20 laps is the reason they've done this in the past was if you had some kind of a rain delay, and the track was green, they had to dry it off, they'd go out there within 20 laps, let the guys come in, see where they were at, and make changes as needed. But 2015, it really saw a lot of tire issues out of Goodyear, and there were a lot of teams, it didn't matter if you were, at a mile-and-a-half track, a super speedway, a half-mile short track. There were a lot of tire issues, and a lot of drivers were adamantly outspoken against Goodyear. And, in a nutshell, it came down to, the product Goodyear brought to the table for NASCAR in 2015 sucked. And that's the only thing I can think of that would maybe prompt them to do a competition yellow is just to make sure that, Goodyear has caught up to, where they need to be and we're not having these issues because, we had a lot of top contenders, ending up having ruined races and as a result, not making the chase or getting knocked out of the chase simply because of tire issues, and it happened a lot.
I don't know. We know sponsors. This is a sponsor-driven sport, and of course that opens up a lot more commercials and everything. I don't know. I'm usually pretty reserved when it comes to changes. I'm not the traditional NASCAR fan that gets all my panties all twisted up and binded in places that don't need to be because of changes. Because usually, if we give the change an opportunity, we end up liking the new system or what the change was versus the old system or the way it was. But I'm visualizing in my head that just the opportunities of, some of these drivers being out front and you got a flag and now you got a pit and it changes everything. Or we have a edge of your seat battle going on and, hold on, we hit our 20 minutes. Now we got to have a car. I don't know. I'm just trying to play it out in my head, and I got my concerns with that. But we brought you on to talk some NHL, so I want to get that for those Puckheads that tuned in tonight. I'm going to let you take the reins. What do we got going on in the NHL right now?
Well, I think the biggest news out of the NHL today has to do with the All-Star Game. It's going to be coming up in Nashville. And John Scott was actually voted the captain by a fan vote to be the captain for the Pacific Division. Now, here's where things get interesting, and this has never happened in the NHL or any other professional sport that I know of when it comes to a situation like this. But he was elected, like I said, by the fans to be the captain of the Pacific Division team. Okay, he was elected as a member of the Arizona Coyotes. Well, Friday he was traded to Montreal, who is in the Atlantic Division. Now, as a result, in the change in the division and Scott's assignment once he went to Montreal, he was not going to be a part of the Canadiens' NHL franchise. He would be sent to the AHL affiliate. So technically that disqualifies him from being a participant in the NHL All-Star game. The NHL went back and they looked at this, and they decided they're going to go ahead and, keep everything kind of a status quo, so to speak. He's going to go ahead and be the captain for the All-Star team. They went ahead and I think the NHL really did the right thing here, and I applaud them for it because, this is the All-Star game. These guys work for this. This is, the NHL. It's one of the most physically demanding of the professional sports, and, to be named and especially voted by the fans a captain of a team, that's a huge honor, and I'm sure that would have sucked for him to have to sit at home and watch that game and not be able to participate. But, kudos to the NHL. They did the right thing, and they stepped in, and they're going to let her do it. So that's good. Bunch of games tonight. We had 8 of them. Let's go ahead and get you caught up on what happened. Calgary, New Jersey. Calgary comes in off a 2-1 loss at Edmonton in the shootout. New Jersey Devils, they come in riding some momentum on a 2-0 shutout over Arizona. And that was a pretty decent game. Corey Schneider going for back-to-back 20-win seasons, and he was able to get that done tonight as New Jersey 4-2 over Calgary. And we'll go ahead and get this opened up here and take a look at some of these stats here. Reed Bouchard and Lee Stepniak, Adam Larson, they all had a goal tonight. Corey Schneider had 26 saves. Jonas Hiller had 22 saves. So those guys did pretty good in the net. Pretty even game. Toronto over Philadelphia, 3-2. That's actually kind of surprised. I would have thought Philadelphia would have put it to Toronto. Washington, the Beast in the East, they went over Columbus 6-3, and I'm telling you, man, Washington, they are just dominating the NHL. Barry Trotz and those guys over the offseason, they put their heads together and they decided to look at what they needed to do to put that team on the right track. Because the last few years, the Capitals have been one of the bottom teams in the East, and they made a couple of key acquisitions in the offseason. One of the biggest, I think, they acquired TJ Oshie from the Blues in a trade, and I'm telling you what, man, Washington's got a front six that is dangerous. They can hurt you. You had Braden Holtby in net. He's having a phenomenal year. Guys making saves he has no business making. He's really keeping them into a lot of games, and I'm just telling you, the defense is contributing. Offense, they're scoring when you got, I think they have 11 or 12 guys that have 10 or more goals. And, when you have a core group of guys putting that many points on the board, that's a hard team to beat right there. They kind of remind me, when you watch them play, of maybe like the Red Wings of the 90s when they were so dominant back when they were in the Central Division. So, come playoff time, I think Washington's going to be the team to beat out of the East. Boston and Montreal.
And I definitely agree because, Washington has been a team this year, sitting at 35-8-3, that has been consistently good all year. It's not like in Montreal that they came out of the gate and was real strong and had all those wins, and now here they are sitting third from the bottom and only got, 50 points, and is no longer even really, not even in the picture, the playoff picture at this point. Then we watched Florida kind of go through their streak, and now they've lost 4 in a row, and they've kind of fall off. Kind of interested to see how Chicago, how much longer they can continue their streak with 11 straight wins. But Washington, they've been very consistent. I mean, obviously with only 8 losses, here we are, 48 games into their season, and you got this, and that's it in the loss column. So I definitely agree. When it comes to playoff time, my eyes are glued on this Washington Capitol team because they've consistently been there all year. They've not been one of these other teams, Montreal, Florida, or Chicago, that's just been streaky. Washington's been there the whole time.
Oh yeah, they've been on fire. I mean, right out of the gate. And like I said, their front six, that is a dangerous core of players. I mean, Ovechkin's really starting to come into his own. I mean, he got his 28th goal tonight, And like I said, when you got that many people, contributing that many points, I mean that's hard. That's going to be really hard to beat. But I don't know. There's a couple teams out of the East, come playoff times, when you really sit and look at how the East is shaping up going into All-Star break, which is about the halfway point of the season. I mean, if you look at the Atlantic Division over in the Eastern Conference, Florida's leading the way. They got 57 points, okay? Top three teams are going to be locked into the playoffs, and you got your fourth and fifth seeds as wild cards. Now, the Atlantic Division is pretty close. I'm going to say the cutoff line at this point is going to go back to Ottawa. They're sitting 7 points out with 50 points. So that's basically, 3.5 games? So that one's kind of up for grabs. Detroit, now with the injuries that they are facing now, I mean, they had a couple of key players go down. They're going to lose Miller for at least a year, and Nicholas Cronwall, he's out 2 to 4 weeks with surgery. So their playoff push is going to be looking kind of dim because Henrik Sederberg and the boys are going to have to dig deep because those are two guys in their lineup that are, they contribute a lot. Power play, penalty kill-wise, I mean, these are two key guys that they're pretty much going to be without for one of them almost all year and one of them all year definitely. So it's going to be interesting to see how Detroit's able to bounce back. But if you pop over to the Metropolitan Division where Washington is, with their win tonight, that bumps them to 73 points. Now, if you come all the way down to 7th to Carolina, they have 48 points, okay? So 2nd through 7th is only separated by 6 points. So the Metropolitan Division is going to be the division to watch in the East because any one of those teams all the way down to 7th has a legitimate chance to get themselves locked into the top 3. But, like we were saying, I don't think anybody's going to catch Washington at this point because they're on cruise control and they're gone. Flipping over to the Central Division, you want to look how that playoff picture is kind of starting to shape up a little bit. The Western Conference, it's pretty typical. You got a lot of really, really good teams. You look at the Central, Chicago's leading the way with their win. I'm pretty sure that game's probably a final by now when they picked up that win, so that's going to bump them to 68 points. You got Dallas right behind with 63. You got St. Louis with 61. And you look down at 4th place Minnesota, they're 52 points. So, they're quite a ways back. So I think those top 3 teams, either one of them have the opportunity to win the Central. And as long as Corey Crawford continues to play good for the Hawks got a really good team. Kane picked up his 30th goal tonight. You got Seabrook, you got Kane, you got Jonathan Taves, you got a really good line of guys there that, they've won a couple of Stanley Cups the last few years, that they are a proven team. They are very good. They are one to watch. The surprise to me a little bit is Dallas sitting in 2nd, midway through the season. They got a good group of players, but, they're a smaller team, but they rely a lot on their speed, so that's really helped them out. You take a look at St. Louis, and I think St. Louis by far is going to be the dark horse in the Central. I'm not being biased just because I live in St. Louis and I'm a Blues fan, but we've got a lot of key injuries right now. I mean, we're sitting 3rd in the division. We're 61 points. We're 5 points back, 3.5 games from Chicago, which is always a really good rival. But when we start getting some of our guys back, we got 4 or 5 key guys that are out of the lineup right now, and we're still managing to do very well. Probably one of the bigger injuries to the Blues is Jake Allen, who is Marty Brodeur's protege. And I got to say, as a Blues fan, I was elated to see Marty Brodeur come and be a part of the St. Louis Blues organization and work with this young, phenomenal talent, Jake Allen. 25-year-old goalie, 6'2", 200 pounds, butterfly guy. And I've played goalie for a lot of years, and just to sit and watch him play from before Marty came to St. Louis to now, it's night and day. You can see little hints of Marty Brodeur and Jake Allen now, and I really think, that was St. Louis's whole point with bringing Marty to the organization, was to work with this kid, because if you look at what he did in the AHL and the Junior National and the records that he put up, this kid he's going to be one to watch in the years to come. But, He's played 33 games this year. He's 18-10-3, 217 goals allowed average, and it's 9.24 save percentage. That's huge. He's out right now with a knee injury, so like I said, that's kind of a blow. But we're hoping he can come back and get himself worked back into that number one role. But on the flip side of that, where St. Louis really has a lot of depth, a lot of the teams in the Central, they have one good goalie, or in the Western Conference, they have one number one goalie and one, mediocre backup at best. Well, St. Louis is in a position to where they have two goalies that are easily could be number ones anywhere in the league. I mean, you got Brian Elliott. He's 30 years old, 6'2", 210 pounds, putting up equally as good numbers this year. He's played 21 games, 9-5-4, 239 goals against average, and a 921 save percentage. I mean, both of those goaltenders' numbers are tops in the NHL. So my dark horse out of the West is going to be St. Louis when it comes to a playoff picture. But again, it's wide open. If you look at the Pacific Division, you've got the LA Kings. They're on cruise control. They're 5 games up on San Jose with 59 points. But here's the interesting thing. The Pacific Division, if you look from second place all the way down to 7th, is separated by 6 points. I mean, San Jose, Arizona, Vancouver, Anaheim, Calgary, Edmonton, any one of these teams still have a legitimate chance to get in there and possibly still take that division. It's that close. And I can't remember many seasons where I've seen each team, both conferences, just this close. I mean, it's going to be a drag race all the way down to the wire. It's going to be interesting to watch. Well,
now,
Edmonton had I'm sorry.
You mentioned the All-Star a few times coming up. And I've never got your opinion, and I've never watched the All-Star NHL, and of course this year I'm going to. But, Izzo, was very excited because of this new format, the fact that we're going to have 2 Eastern Conferences in one period, 2 Western Conference teams in the second period. Then we're going to have a face-off, East versus West. What was your thoughts initially when you heard about this new format? And then after you had time to think about it, has it changed? And how excited are you to see this new format for the All-Star?
When I first heard about it, I didn't like it. And now that I've had time to let it resonate and think about it, I still don't like it. I've been playing this game for over 30 years. I'm a traditional hockey kind of guy. I think, I'm a firm believer if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's kind of like NASCAR, and there's no reason to do that. I mean, I understand it. I mean, it'll be interesting to watch, but you get the All-Star game, it's exactly that. It's like any other All-Star game in any other professional sport. You're tuning in to watch the best players, of that sport representing their team and that sport get to play each other. And in some instances, you're not going to get to see, some people you would want to see on the ice competing against each other. You're not going to get to see that. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a traditional guy. I like it the way it was. But they did do one thing that I like. When they had the draft, they would go ahead and the coaches would pick the captains and the captains would draft the players. I did like that. That brought an element of, a whole new thing of, all right, what's going to happen? I really like that. The skills competition for the All-Star game, that's actually, and most people will tell you, that's the best part of All-Star weekend. Is the alumni game and the skills competition the day before. The skills competition will blow your mind if you've never seen it. I mean, you've got guys up there like Chara and Shea Weber and some of these bigger guys that are competing in the hardest shot contest, and they're firing this hockey puck. I can't remember exactly who won it last year, but I know the shot was like 111 miles an hour. I mean, can you imagine getting hit with a hockey puck that weighs 3 pounds when it's frozen at 110 miles an hour? It don't feel good. But yeah, if you've never watched an All-Star game, I think you'll really be impressed with it. I will say this: if you're not a big hockey fan, you don't watch many hockey games. You're not going to see your typical hockey game when you watch the All-Star game. These guys are, they're not the bruisers, they're not the brawlers. They're not going to be out there, beating each other up, and guys aren't going to be taking big hits into the boards and no huge open ice hits or anything like that. You probably won't see any fights, but it's just a good atmosphere, and the games actually count now. I mean, the winner of the winning conference, that's home ice advantage through the playoffs. So, that's one thing that changed a few years back, and I kind of like that too, because it doesn't count for points or anything, but now it at least counts for home ice advantage. So, it gives the game a little bit.
And honestly, I love that. I love that the Major League Baseball, that's how, who gets home field advantage in the World Series. I love the fact that NASCAR, that they pay $1 million or $2 million to win their All-Star race. So there's a reason to play. There's a reason to try. And I'm glad the NHL went that way. Now I just get the NBA and the NFL to have some purpose behind. And the NFL, I've always said, to me, let that help dictate where the Super Bowl is. Like,
right.
Say that, it's voted obviously a couple years out, but say that this year the AFC team wins and say we're voting for the 2018 Super Bowl. Now, the AFC team wins. Now it eliminates any NFC team's possibility of winning the right to host it in 2018 or so. So say the AFC wins and say that it was coming down to Arizona, Seattle, Cleveland, and New England. Well, if the AFC wins, now it's down to New England and Cleveland. And it gives them a reason to want to play, because now there's a possibility that the Super Bowl could be held at their stadium and they could have home field. So,
right.
It's something simple as that. But I love the fact that the NHL has done this. I'm glad that the Major League, MLB, and NASCAR has got some kind of system to make the All-Star game worth watching. Like I said, now the NBA and the NFL would follow suit and give us a reason to actually want to watch that garbage they put on TV on All-Star Weekend. It would help tremendously.
Right. Yeah. Of all the major sporting events, I would have to say I'm not a big NBA fan. I don't watch much basketball at all, but I do like the NFL, and I can't remember a year that I've ever sat and actually watched the Pro Bowl. I mean, what's the point? I mean, yeah. It's kind of like a walkthrough practice. I mean, these guys are on vacation. They're not wanting to get hurt, which I completely understand. And just, look, the NFL and the NHL, are by far the most physically demanding of the professional sports, and NFL players, they got a grueling season. I understand. They're done with that, and NFL playoffs are just like the NHL playoffs. It's a whole nother season. The game, it's still football, but it's on a whole nother level. I mean, it psychologically, physically, I mean, it's just, and I can understand these guys don't want to go out there and just beat the hell out of each other, which is, perfectly understandable, but it's just boring to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
So, looking back on some of the major headlines from today, Oilers, their hopes for, a second half season playoff run, didn't get it any better today. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 2011 overall first-round draft pick, he went down to block a shot the other day against the Florida Panthers defenseman Dmitry Kolyov, and he took a shot in the hand, and he is expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a broken hand. So that's pretty much going to kill his chances of coming back and being productive for Edmonton, who's in the basement in the Pacific Division. I mean, they have a chance. I mean, they're 6 points out behind San Jose of second place, but the 1-2 punch of Tyler Hall and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Without that, I mean, Edmonton's going to be hurting. But on the flip side of that, Edmonton was able to, hang with Tampa Bay tonight. Tampa Bay put up 6 goals on them, but their playoff hopes, I think, are dashed with that injury, because that's huge. I mean, you look at what Nugent's done this year. I mean, I think he's got, 12 goals and 22 assists so far in 46 games. So, I mean, he's a productive guy. He puts up points, for a team that's having problems putting the puck in the back of the net. So, with losing that offensive presence on the ice, they're going to have to rely on a lower tier guy from the AHL to, pick up that slack. And, you look at Edmonton's organization back to their AHL affiliate, and they're not a team with depth. They're rebuilding. They've got some talent, but I think that's going to be the final blow and the nail in the coffin for them this year. So, good game tonight, late game, Dallas and LA. You got Dallas in second in the Central Division. LA's leading the Pacific Division, so there's two Western Conference teams going at it, so those points are going to help them out. Dallas coming off a loss at San Jose in overtime, 4-3. LA riding the momentum off a win over Anaheim. Kerry Lettman going to be in the net for Dallas. Jonathan Quick going to be in between the pipes for LA. Yeah, Jonathan Quick trying to pad to his wins, which is very, very impressive because that guy has just been on fire this year. We've had some good goaltending this year from a lot of teams. Jonathan Quick's putting up career numbers. Corey Crawford's putting up career numbers. Brandon Holtby. Ryan Miller, Henrik Lundqvist, Jonas Hiller, Corey Schneider. The goaltender game is where it's at this year in the NHL. You got a lot of these elite guys that are having problems finding the back of the net because in years past, the biggest problem with the NHL was, the lack of goalies that could be, kind of put into that superstar category, whereas now each team's got a guy that's capable of going out there, and setting the bar. It's just staggering. And like I said, as a goalie, I sit back and I look at what's going on in the NHL right now. These guys are getting bigger, they're getting faster, the shots are getting harder, the game is getting more physical, and the average person looks at the goalie as, the guy just sitting there getting hit with the puck, but the game starts and stops with the goaltender. You've got a guy like Alexander Ovechkin or Sidney Crosby or, anybody that's more than capable of going coast to coast with the puck and making your entire, front five look, pitiful. He can just dangle around all of them, and that last line of defense is the goaltender, and he's always the hero or the zero. If he stops the shot, he's the hero. If he lets the puck in the back of the net, everybody's, this guy sucks. But goalies do carry a lot of the weight for a team. So, I'm looking at the NHL this year and going, man, the chase for the Vezina Trophy is going to be a good one this year because there's a lot of guys putting up career numbers, and they're giving these snipers fits this year. But hey, it's part of the game. It's evolving. You got to evolve with it, and I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the NHL this year. It's so far it's been one of the better seasons. All the conferences are really good. They're really close. A lot of these teams, you look at them, like I was saying, Carolina, they're in the basement. They're only 6 points out. It's so close. Every game in the second half of the season for the playoff push is going to count. There are no throwaway games. If you can get the 2 points in regulation, that's what you want, because even though you can go to overtime and still get a point, that is going to be what makes the difference, I believe, in when it comes down to who gets in on these wild card spots and who don't, is the overtime wins and losses versus the regulation wins and losses. And those single points is what's going to make the difference. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited about it. Second half of the season is shaping up to be great.
Definitely looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to having you come back and talk some more hockey. I'd love to have the opportunity to have you and one at the same time. I think you guys would have a great time doing that. Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock where he's from. We have the Midwest Horsepower Hour. Looking forward to having him back on this Sunday night. Tim and Chris Yellowcaution Flag Creighton will be giving you guys some orgasms, especially if you love to talk racing. Anything set up for this Sunday night, or is it just kind of you guys going at it this Sunday?
We haven't really touched base in the last 5 or 6 hours, but I think the last conversation we had was he's gonna bring in a little bit of the element of down where he's at. He's an announcer down there in the Southeast, and I do my media stuff up here in the Midwest. And between the two of us, I think we're gonna be able to bring you guys really good content each and every week. We're gonna have different drivers from all the big classes all across the country. We're going to be highlighting the Lucas Oil Late Model Series, the World Outlaws Late Models, World Outlaw Sprint Cars, some USAC stuff, open wheel modifieds. I mean, we're pretty much going to be the wind tunnel of dirt racing, so you never know who's going to be on each week. First couple shows I had, we were talking to guys like Michael Cunningham and Jeff Swindell and Zach Dom, and you know we've had a real good list of guests on there so far. But like I said, no racing really going on right now. Those first couple of shows were really good to streamline it and get everything set up for when racing season really does start. And this Sunday, 8 o'clock, we're going to kick it back off, and 60 minutes of elbows up in your face dirt racing every week. So hope you guys can tune in and check it out.
Where can they find you on Facebook? What's let them know about the fan page?
Show page on Facebook is Midwest Horsepower Hour. You can go there and check it out. You can go to my personal page, Damion Bean. I usually post some things on there. Chris Creighton, yellowcautionflags.com. He will also be having some stuff up on his media sites. I believe you can find him on Facebook, Twitter. I think he's got an Instagram. So he's also got a www account. It would be yellowcautionflags.com. So be sure and check out all that stuff and show him some support. Great guy, and I'm really looking forward to having him as a part of the team.
Definitely looking forward to sitting in and listening to you guys on Sunday, running the studio and those things that I get to do. I'm definitely looking forward to Sunday. Damion, you have a great night. I'm sure we'll catch up later on, and looking forward to not only listening to Sunday night, but having you back on the 110 Nation Sports Show.
Oh, I'm more than happy to be back. These 2 weeks, kind of like you said, they were killing me because I had so much good stuff going on over the past couple of weeks with the Chili Bowl and the Ice Bowl and the shootout in the desert. But we'll talk about all that Sunday night, so it'll be a good show.
You have a great night.
You too, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. That was Damion Bean, our host over at the Midwest Horsepower Hour. Looking forward to having him back on Sunday night, 9 p.m. Don't forget, we got the Happy Hour Garage. I want to say it's the name of it. Anyway, we're syndicating them. We're going to be rebroadcasting. So Sunday, right now, I'm letting you know, if you are a race fan, you need to be in on the 110 Nation on Sunday night. We will be kicking the day off, rebroadcasting the Happy Hour Garage Show or whatever it's called. I'm sorry, I know I should know it by now. And then following it up with finish the night off with the Midwest Horsepower Hour. I'm looking forward to both those shows. If you got a show out there you want us to syndicate it, you want us to rebroadcast it, hit me at MrCJSports@gmail.com. Or as a matter of fact, you got a show, or you want to have a show, you want to co-host, or even come on like Damion did tonight and co-host, hit me up as well, MrCJSports@gmail.com. Interested in coming on the show, all you got to do is send a Miss Lee, that is 110nation@yahoo.com. Don't forget, I'm about to screw up. We normally have the 110 Nation morning show, but tomorrow morning I got to be in work first thing in the morning, so we're going to put off that show one more morning. We'll be back at it Thursday morning. But don't forget, tomorrow night we got the 110 Nation Sports Show as we do Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 Eastern Standard Time. Like I said, normally we have the 110 Nation morning show on from 9 till 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, but we'll be getting back on it on Thursday. Don't forget, Thursday nights we got Racing with Big Sweat, 9 p.m., so make sure you guys tune in there as well. And then, of course, we got Midwest Horsepower Hour, 9 p.m. Sunday night, so make sure you guys check those out. Don't forget, you can check me out on Facebook, Mr. CJ Sports, 110 Nation, at 110 Nation. I'm sorry, the 110 Nation, at 110 Nation Sports. Also, on Twitter, you can follow me at CJ Sports1, the 110 Nation, at 110 Nation. Check us out, www.the110nationsports.com, or no, the110nation.com. or our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com, for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. Got to make sure I thank I-95 Sports Network for rebroadcasting our shows, syndicating them. We are on their network every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time. Got to thank them for their patience as we were going through the technical difficulties in the move. I'm glad that we'll be back on there tomorrow, so looking forward to that as well. You guys have a great night. Be talking to you guys tomorrow. Till then, you guys have a good one.
Thanks for listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show with Mr. CJ Sports. You are a part of the 110 Nation, so be sure to visit the110nation.com for everything related to the show. You can follow CJ on Twitter at 110 Nation and on Facebook at 110 Nation Sports. Until next time.
Have a seat and hold on tight. Because the ultra-high performance tire that first raised the bar just crushed it again. With better traction, more stability, improved wet braking. For the modern muscle car, it's the next level of performance. Step up to the all-new Nitto 555 G2. Check it out at nittotire.com. It's what's next.